The Zoom's just loading the Facebook Live here. What is the audience? Right. All right, perfect. So today we're looking at what Negroes need to know about Simon Maccabeus, part two, right? What Negroes need to know about Simon Maccabeus, part two. Now, let me just make sure I'm sharing the screen here. Right, great. Right? Anytime you guys can't see the screen, please let me know because as just a general vibe of the lesson, I always want to kind of share the screen so people can follow along and visually see, the pieces of research, etc. So that being said, this is what we're looking at today, right? What Negroes need to know about Simon Maccabeus, part two, man, right? In part one, we looked at a couple of things, right? In part one, we looked at the fact that we asked who Simon was, right? And you know, we found out that Simon was a warrior who had fought for the temple of Yahweh and for his people, right? This is the second temple. He fought to reclaim it from the Greeks who had overrun Israel um, and had taken over the temple, man, right? And kicked all the Israelites out, slaughtered many of them, and forced or coerced many others into breaking the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. I mean, they made it straight up illegal for you to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High through a Greek by the name of Antiochus Epiphanes the Fourth, man, a real historical figure. You understand? Because the Bible deals with real history. Everything in there actually happened, right? This is not a book of myth like Esau tries to tell you, and neither is it a book of religion, but it is the Negro's history book, the Israelites' history book, right? A guide for man um, uh, to learn about the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Of course, excluding the devil himself, who is the so-called Caucasian, according to the scriptures of the Most High. Revelation chapter 12, Daniel 9:26, Daniel chapter 7, 18 to 24, Daniel 8, 18 to 24, Ezekiel 35, 7, Obadiah 1, 18, and many other scriptures, right? So, um, Isaiah 65, 11 to 12, and many other scriptures. So anyway, we looked at the fact that Simon was a warrior who fought for the temple of Yahweh and his people against those people, against the enemies of the Most High God and the enemies of Israel, right? We looked at the fact that Simon's brothers were Judah, Jonathan, Eleazar, and Johanan, or Yachanan, who is that's where the name John comes from. So the man name started as Yakanan in Hebrew and ended up as John in English, right? So now we start to see how names like Jesus are not the real names of these people, right? In any case, we also looked at who Simon's father was, and we looked at the fact that Simon's father was a man by the name of Mattathias, a very righteous and virtuous Levite, okay? A priestly, one of the priestly class of the Israelites. And what did he do? He fought against Edomites until his last breath. Now, this last part here is what many of our congregations miss. Mattathias was not just a Levite, part of the priestly class, and very virtuous, a shining light really in Israel as far as righteousness goes. He also fought against Edom until his last breath. Once the war once he started the war with the Edomites, um, by fighting back, um, when they came to try to convince him to do devil worship, once he fought back the war against the Edomites for that time period, beginning, I believe, in about 167 BC, began. And he died, and on his deathbed, he had spent the days from that day on fighting the Edomites, man. He didn't negotiate with them, he didn't relent. He was fighting them to the death. Okay? And you guys are gonna see in this lesson why that's really important. Okay? So these are the things that we looked at in the last lesson, right? So today we're gonna look at Simon's virtues, his brother's virtues, what happened to him and his brothers, why they certain things happened to them, um, what exactly happened to them, and then what, we'll get whatever we can lessons we can glean from that, right? So let's start first with Simon's virtues. We looked at his dad's virtues and look at the list of virtues that his dad had. He was a ruler, right? So he had done well in life. He was honorable, right? Meaning he was keeping the commandments. He was strong and a great man, right? A warrior, man. What else was he? Bold. What else was he? Zealous, right? When it came to the works of the Most High, he wasn't lackadaisical, man. He was right there, the first on the scene, right? He was a law keeper, right? He was a faithful man. He didn't involve himself in vanity. You can read about that on your own in these verses here. All these lessons are posted on the website, right? On our blog, right? The full document, so you can always go read it on your own time. He was a wise man, right? And lastly, of course, he was a warrior, right? So these were the virtues of the father of Simon Maccabeus, right? So when we start looking at Simon's virtues, we're going to start to see, the apple don't fall too far from the tree, right? So we're going to start in First Maccabees chapter 2, and we'll get verse 65. Salves, let's get that, please. Right? So this is looking at what Simon's father had to say about him. Um, so go ahead. First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 65.
And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him alway. He shall be a father unto you.
Okay, so stop right there, right? So as their father is about to die, he says of his son Simon that Simon is a man of counsel. Meaning, hey, if you're about to do it before you do anything, take advice from Simon. So remember, his father is wise. And his father is saying, you know what? Before I die, you brothers here, you mighty men here, I need you all to always take the advice of Simon, right? So this shows you one of the virtues of Simon, that he was a wise man, a leader of leaders, because his brothers were all leaders, mighty leaders. You understand? Levite men keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh in order with their father in their father's house. And yet his father singled him out as the one to take advice from, right? So Simon was a leader of leaders, right? What else? We're gonna see that Simon was also, like his father, a man of war, right? We're gonna go to First Maccabees chapter 5, right? And we'll read 17 to 18 and then 21 to 23, right? Now, Sister Kira, are you able to read?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay, so you'll give me 7 to 18 and then jump down to 21 and give me to 23, all right? So
Okay.
let's start with 17 and 18. This is First Maccabees chapter 5. Go ahead.
Then Judas said unto Simon his brother, Choose thee out men, and go and deliver thy brethren that are in Galilee, for I and Jonathan my brother will go into the country of Galilee.
Mhm.
So he left Joseph, the son of Zacharias, and Azarias, captains of the people, with the remnant of the host in Judea to keep it.
Right. The host, of course, being a synonym for army. Okay. What they like to do when you study what's it called? What is it called? I'm drawing a blank. There's a particular study, um, course of study when you try to determine um, what historical documents and books originally said. All right. I'm totally drawing a blank. But in that study, which I've done much of, you learn that many phrases in the Bible were changed in order to soften how they sounded. They sounded too harsh. So the editors decided they would use particular synonyms to kind of smooth out and soften the meaning, right? So, when people say, "Oh, there's no changes in the Bible," well, that's a lie, right? There's many changes that were done in the Bible, but through precepts, the original sense of the scriptures cannot be lost. Okay, that's just what it is. That's why the Most High said to use precepts. So this is one of those situations, and most places where you see, if not all places, where you see host within the scriptures, the word is actually army, man, right? So the brothers left the remnant of their army in Judea to look over Judea. Okay. And Simon, being a man of war, was chosen by his brother Judah to go and rescue their brothers, man, and sisters. Say, hey, go and rescue, right? In 17, go and deliver thy brethren that are in Galilee. Meaning, um, um, go and deliver them. Sorry, yeah, go and deliver your brethren, meaning go and rescue them. Okay, go and rescue them. So Simon did rescue missions, man, right? All out war as well, right? Just missions to destroy the enemies of Yahweh and the enemies of the Israelites. Okay. Uh, let's jump down to 21. Go ahead, 21 to 23.
Then Simon went to Galilee, where he fought many battles with the heathen, so that the heathen were discomfited by him.
Right. So not only was he a warrior, he was a damn good one. It says he fought many battles down there in Galilee and mashed up these guys, man. Destroyed them, defeated them in battle, routed their armies, they would say in military terms, right? Of course, the heathen being the Greeks that we were fighting at the time. Go ahead.
And he pursued them onto the gate of,
That, that's Ptolemy.
oh, sorry, Ptolemy.
Yeah, or Ptolemais, which is either referring to the actual place. I'm pretty sure it's referring to the place actually. Because there was a city, if I remember correctly, by the name of Ptolemais in the region at the time, right? I'm just gonna do a quick search here. Name of several ancient cities, all of which were founded or renamed by members of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Macedonian Greek dynasty that ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great. Okay, the name of several ancient cities. Okay, Ptolemais in Phoenicia. So I believe this is where the scripture is talking about. Ptolemais was an ancient port city on the Canaanite coast in the ancient region of Phoenicia. Okay, this may give you a picture. There we go. This is a good this is a good sort of a representation. Um Ptolemais, the homeland of Arius, and polemic Christianity, Roman ports. And of course, this being the Mediterranean Sea, this is the port of Ptolemais. I like to get the picture, the sort of landmass in context. There we go. All right. So there we have it, right? Um, in Phoenicia, all right. Um, you have Ptolemais, right, on the west coast of the land of Israel, all right, and of course called Ptolemais at that time because the Greeks, the damn Edomites, had control of the place, man, right? Why is a place in Israel called Ptolemais when Ptolemy is a Hamite from Egypt, right? Well, because these Edomites just do whatever, as Ptolemais, Hermiao, in Egypt, right? Yeah, I mean, even one of the Edomite kings, his name was Ptolemy, man. This is an Edomite ruling in Egypt, calling himself Ptolemy, man, as if he was a Hamite, right? Mixing himself, as Daniel 2, and I believe it's verse 33 or 43 tells you, mixing himself with the seed of men. Second, just want to pull that up. Yeah, 43. Whereas also as iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Of course, talking about the rulers of the last kingdom on earth, man, before Yahweh Shai comes. And we know who's ruling the kingdom right now and who shall rule the kingdom until the coming of Christ. The Most High calls them the Greek, okay, in Daniel 7. Okay. So Simon went and he fought many battles with the heathen and, destroyed them, pursued them onto the gate of Ptolemais, right? Which you guys now see where that was. And go ahead, sis.
And there were slain of the heathen about 3,000 men, whose spoils he took.
Right. So after he slew them, he took their stuff, man, because it's all fair game now. This is war, right? If I slay you in battle, well, your boots are mine. Your chest piece, the coins you had in your pocket, and whatever else I want, man. Because I won that battle, right? This is the law of the Most High, man. Remember, Yahweh is the Lord of war, man, right? His seat is just the mercy seat, but his personality is that he is a warrior, right? Go ahead. 23.
And he pursued them on to the gate of Ptolemais. And there, sorry, no, I think I'm reading the wrong one.
Uh, 23, and those that were in Galilee.
Okay. And those that were in Galilee and in Arbutus
Mm-hmm.
with their wives and their children and all that they had took he away with him and brought them into Judea with great joy.
See that? Right? Galilee, of course, being northern Israel, man, where Yahweh Shai was born, man. Right? So these guys went to rescue their brethren in Galilee, man, and pursued these heathen all the way to that city Ptolemais. Okay. And he did the rescue, right? So Simon wasn't no slouch, man. The man saw many battles. He was a battle-hardened warrior, man. Okay. Um, that was one of his virtues. Okay. Um, I want to look at chapter 11, right? And verse 65, just to give another illustration. Chapter 11 and verse 65 and 66. Let's get that, please, KK.
Repeat that again.
Let's get 65 and 66.
Then Simon escaped against
Encamped, encamped.
encamped,
Mm-hmm.
encamped against Bethsura
Mm-hmm.
and fought against it a long season and shut it up.
Right. So the man set up his camp against Bethsura, right? And fought against the city, man. Okay? And made it so that and conquered it, okay? Overwhelmed them, okay? So that they really could have no victory against him. And then what happened?
66. But they desired to have peace with him, which he granted them, and then he put them out from thence, and took the city and set a garrison in it.
Right. So so he fought against them and had them under so much pressure militarily. They said, okay, we give up, man. Okay, we're done with this war. It's peacetime. So what did he do? Well, he kicked them out of the city. Like, okay, well, all of y'all gotta leave, man. That's the terms of peace. Get out, right? Took the city and he put barracks in there. That's what a garrison is, okay? Barracks or forts, military bases, essentially. What America does around the world. The brother did in that place, so that if anyone was thinking they would come back and take that city, they would be met face to face by soldiers, right? So Simon was a warrior, right? Right? And a man of counsel. Those were his two great virtues. Okay. What were the virtues of his brothers? They were men of war, just like their father, right? And we're going to go to a couple of scriptures just to pull that up real quick. So he was a man of war, so were his brothers. And look at Judah, who's spoken of a lot, and Jonathan as well. Um, some of his brothers are not spoken of much, but they're still seen um, in their military campaigns, right? Doing military service. Let's read verse 1 to 7 here, Savs, and First Maccabees 3.
Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him. And so did all they that held with his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel.
Right, so Judah was the next general after his father, man. Right, go ahead.
So he gat his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and
Hmm.
and great his walk warlike harness about him, and
Girt
he made
meaning he put it on. Okay, go ahead.
and he made battles, protecting the host with his sword.
Right. The host in this context, of course, meaning the children of Israel, the crowd. All right. This is a perfect illustration of what I was telling you guys, in that most times when you see hosts, it's talking about armies, but not all the times. Okay. He didn't need to protect the army with his sword. Okay. He was protecting the people of Israel with his sword, and his army was helping him. All right. Read on.
In his acts, he was like a lion, and a lion a lion's whelp roaring for his prey.
Mhm.
For he pursued the wicked and sought them out, and burnt up those that vexed his people.
He shook hands with them.
He burned up those who that vexed his people.
He burned them up, man. Right? He burned them up, the people that vex his people. That's what he did when he found them, and he fought against them like a lion. Now, a lion fights against you with reckless abandon. It's not trying to just give you a little scratch so you can go home and tell your friends, don't mess with that lion. No, the lion's trying to kill you, man. It's trying to rip you to pieces and eat you alive, man. Right? And you're screaming and kicking until you take your last breath, man. And the lion is not really concerned about your kicking and screaming. That's what the brother Judah fought like, man. Right? Go ahead. Verse 6. And you will see that this is why the scriptures say this about the reputation that he built. Go ahead.
Wherefore the wicked shrunk in fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand.
You hear that? So these Edomites that were oppressing us and the Hebrews that were helping them, they shrunk for fear of Judah, man. They were afraid of Judah, man. Right? They started to cower because of Judah and his mighty exploits and his fierceness as a warrior, right? And his reputation for just a victory after victory after victory, right? So go ahead. Verse 7.
For he pursued wait.
Verse 7.
He grieved also many kings, and made Jacob glad with his acts, and his memorial is blessed forever.
Right. So the Israelites were not saying, hey, you know what, brother Judah, you're going too hard on these Edomites, man. Right? You gotta let the Greeks live, man. Right? Have mercy upon the Greeks. The Israelites were not saying that, man, because their minds were not destroyed by colonization at that time. The Most High said, Jacob, the tribes of Israel were happy about the things that Judah was doing, man. About him tearing his enemies to pieces till they had to compare him to a lion, and they got scared just hearing about Judah, right? And the Most High said, because of these things, A, the memory of him is forever blessed. Okay? But Judah made mistakes. Simon made mistakes. Right? Life destroying mistakes. And Jonathan did the same thing, as did many men in their line, starting with them. And we're going to look at that today. And this is a thing that I don't hear our the teachers in our congregation talking about. The fact that these brothers did mighty acts and their memorial is blessed forever. certain of them at least. But um, there are also lessons to be learned from from what happened to them, right? From what happened to their family line and what happened to them personally. And these are the things that we're going to look at today, right? What we can learn from what happened to these mighty men. Because so far, these guys are looking like heroes, man. Like they can do no wrong, right? But you're going to see what things cause their lives to be destroyed. Yea, even their line to be destroyed, right? Okay. So that was Judah. Let's look at Jonathan, chapter 5 of the same book. I will read 55 and 56. Let's get that, please, Sister Kira. Sister Kira.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. What verse am I starting from?
55,
Okay.
just 55 and 56, those
Okay.
two verses.
Now what time as Judas and Jonathan were in the land of Galaad, and Simon his brother in Galilee before Ptolemais. Joseph the son of Zacharias and Azarias, captains of the garrisons, heard of the valiant acts and warlike deeds which they had done.
And that's it. Okay. Um, hmm. Uh, read till 58. Read till 60.
Wherefore they said, let us also get us a name, and go fight against the heathen that are round about us.
So stop right there. So Jonathan, again, we're looking at his brother's virtues. They were also warriors. All right. And here we learn that when Judah and Jonathan were in the land of Galaad, right, doing their portion of the war, and Simon and his brother, being either Johanan or Eleazar, were in Galilee. Um, their warlike and valiant acts were heard about, right? So this shows you Jonathan was also dealing as a warrior, and he was valiant in war. Okay, so that's what we get from 55 and 56, right? And I think we're gonna drop that, sis, because I don't want to take too much time. But what you learn here is that um this brother Joseph and this brother Azarias, right? They were not they were of a lower rank within the army than the Maccabean brothers. And so when they heard of all the glory that these brothers were getting, and all the valiant acts and warlike deeds they were doing, you know what they said? They said, well, let us go make a name for ourselves as well and go fight against the heathen, right? Actually, read it, sis. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Give me 50, 58 to 60, right? But before you start, I just want to explain. So they want to get famous too. They hear, Jay-Z is making $1 million rapping, so now they want to be rappers. They hear Drake is building I don't know, 20-bedroom house in the Bridle Path, and so now they want to be rappers too, right? This is a bad example, but I'm just giving you a worldly example comparatively. And so they want to go do it too, not realizing the hand of Yahweh is upon these men. And that's why they're able to do these particular things, right? They first have the right spirit, And so Yahweh is blessing their deeds. So when they go out with the wrong spirit, they die, man. Right? And we'll read about that. Go ahead.
So when they had given charge unto the garrison that was with them, they went towards Jamnia. Then came Georges and his men out of the city to fight against them. And so it was that Joseph and Azarus were put to fight, and pursued unto the borders of Judea. And there were slain that day of the people of Israel, and 2,000 men.
About 2,000 men. Go ahead.
Thus there was a great overthrow among the children of Israel, because they were not obedient unto Judas and his brethren, but thought to do some valiant act.
Mhm. Go ahead.
Moreover, these men came not of the seed of those by whose hand deliverance was given unto Israel.
You see that? Right? So my mistake, they were not slain, but they got a lot of people killed. All right? They got a lot of people killed. Why? Because the Most High had not chosen them to do valiant acts. Right? He gave them a station at which they were to stay. He gave them instructions to follow, and they wanted to bright up themselves, like they say in Toronto, right? They wanted to get more glory for themselves. And so they got many people killed, um, and lost their charges in the war, man, right? What they were supposed to hold down, the area they were supposed to hold down, they lost it. The Most High said, because they were not obedient unto Judah and his brethren. See that? Now, I want you guys to take special note of this, because the Most High tell you disobedience is as witchcraft. I brought it out many times before teaching in this congregation, right? And he tell you, I'm gonna bring it out. So what you're gonna see is not only these brothers failed because of disobedience, but you're gonna see that the Maccabean brothers ultimately also failed, because of disobedience. In fact, um, disobedience took them to the grave earlier than they should have gone, right? This is 1 Samuel 15 and 23. Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. So when you're stubborn, you're not listening, you're not willing to obey, this is iniquity. Iniquity is sin, man. And idolatry. You're worshiping a different God. And many times I brought this out, and I'll bring it out again. Often that God is yourself, because you think you know better, right? So you're rebelling against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. The Most High say this is just like witchcraft, and he tell you, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So the rebellious against Yahweh don't stand a chance. They're going to die. And then he tell you stubbornness is like sin and idolatry, man. Right? Don't be stubborn. You're in the truth. Don't be stubborn. Listen, do what the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh says. Don't worship yourself. Because if you worship another God, that's not the Most High. This is also grounds for destruction. Right? So, that being said, let's move on to the virtues of his other brethren. So we see that these brothers were men of war. and ordained by the Most High to do these particular works. All right. Jumping down to 63 and reading until reading 63 and 64. Go ahead, KK.
In so much as the people
You want 63 and 64 and get a bit closer to the mic, please.
howbeit the man of Judas and his brethren were greatly renowned in the sight of all
Renowned, greatly renowned. Okay, so they were greatly known and regarded. Go ahead.
in the sight of all Israel
Mm-hmm.
and of all the heathen
Mm-hmm.
wheresoever their name was heard of.
Right. So anywhere you spoke about Judah and his brothers, people were like, yo, those are great men. You don't want to mess with those guys. Yeah, man, man, Judah and his brothers, man, I wish I knew those guys. Right? I mean, I got a daughter, man. I definitely would like her to marry one of those guys, or one of those guys to marry her. And where they stay at, man, maybe I'll bring her over, to meet them, right? These were the conversations. Oh, don't worry, man. You can sleep well tonight because Judah and his brothers, man, they got these Edomites on the run. So you can rest easy today. We're not going to get attacked by these Edomites. We're good, right? These brothers were men of renown, known for the salvation of their people, right? This is the stock of which Simon came. And again, we're talking about Simon because the day of Simon is next weekend, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it's next weekend. Bear with me. Yeah, on the 18th. Okay, 18th at evening. Right? That's why we're talking about this. Right? So him and his brothers were greatly renowned in the sight of all Israel. And all the heathen that heard their name knew as well. You don't mess with these guys, man. Israel has a wall around them, and these are their names. You know, Yakanan, Eleazar, Judah, Jonathan, and Simon, man. Yeah, with these five, these guys be breaking nations in the enemies of the Most High and the enemies of their nation in pieces. In fact, those guys are Maccabees, hammers, right? Right. And this is awesome because in the scriptures, the Most High said his word is like a hammer that break the rock in pieces. Jeremiah 23:29. Is not my word like fire, declares Yahweh, and like a hammer that smashes a rock? And in the KJV, is not my word like as a fire, saith Yahweh, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Right? So all this points back to where these guys were getting their power from. It wasn't from their individual prowess, man, right? It was the power that they had. They got physical power because they had spiritual power. They got physical power, I'll say it again, because first and foremost, they had spiritual power. Hallelujah, right? And that's how it works. That's how it works, period. You know, you want lasting physical power. Get spiritual power first, you know? Okay. Let's see. So you read 63.
Now I'm doing 64.
Go ahead.
Insomuch as the people assembled unto them with joyful acclamations.
Acclamations, right? And then what happened?
Afterward went Judas forth with his brethren, and fought against the children of Esau in the land towards the south, where he smote
Hebron,
Hebron, and the towns thereof, and pulled down the fortress of it, and burned the towers thereof round about.
right? So this war was against who, really? They've called them many names throughout. And here, finally in 565, and also in verse 3 here in chapter 5, he calls them what?
Um,
The people that the brothers were fighting against. They call them whose children?
children of Esau,
So the Greeks are
Esau.
that's right. Specifically, they are the children of Esau. Esau is their ancestor, not the Neanderthal, like they like to tell you, right? Not monkeys, man. Esau is their ancestor, right? The rebirth of Satan in the flesh, man. The evil seed. That's their father, right? And this is why they do their father's works on this planet, which is just evil, evil, and more evil. 6, 6, and more 6. Destruction, destruction, and more destruction. Falling short, and more falling short. Nakedness, nakedness, and more nakedness. Disobedience, disobedience, and more disobedience. Pride, pride, and more pride. Right? This is why he does these works. So, that being said, the virtues of Simon were counsel and war. The virtues of his brethren were war. Now, they had other virtues as well, which you can read about in the death of their father, like we did, I believe, in First Maccabees chapter 3. Okay, so you can read about their other virtues in more detail, but I wanted to point out that these brothers were warriors, man. And Simon himself was the counselor of the warriors, okay? The leader of the leaders, okay? So, after these glowing reviews of these brethren, we realize something. Or I should say, I realized something. They still died the death, man. They did not die in peace like their father. And there's a reason. And we've already seen the reason foreshadowed in the behavior of other men around them that were trying to get glory for themselves. So we're going to ask now, or we're going to look at what happened to Simon and his brothers. Okay? We're going to look at what happened to Simon and his brothers. All right? Let's go to chapter 6. Having done all these works, what was their end? Sabs, let's get 43 to 46, please.
Eleazar, also surnamed Savaran,
Mm-hmm.
pier- piercing that one of the beasts, armed with royal harness,
Hold
was
on.
high.
Hold on. That's not that's the wrong word. Read the words. Don't just say what you think is there. Eleazar, also surnamed Savaran. Go ahead.
Perceiving that one of the beasts, armed with royal harness, was higher than all the rest, and supposing that the king was upon him, put himself in jeopardy to the end he might deliver his people and get him a perpetual name.
So stop right there. So this brother Eleazar, thinking the king is on top of this beast, which is an elephant, because they're in the middle of a war with these Edomites, who start coming with elephants from India or the land of Elam. It says he put himself in danger. Why? To do two things: to deliver his people, which is great, but also the thing that the other two brothers did, right? They overstepped their boundaries. Why? To get themselves a name. So he wanted to do one good thing, deliver his people, but he mixed the wine. He want to get himself a name as well. So he make it about himself, right? So then what did he do?
Wherefore he ran upon him courageously through the midst of the battle, slaying on the right hand and on the left, so that they were divided from him on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Which done, he crept under the elephant and thrust him under, and slew him. Whereupon the elephant fell down upon him, and there he died.
Right.
Howbeit, the rest of the Jews, seeing the strength of the king and the violence of his forces, turned away from them.
Go ahead.
Then the king's army went up to Jerusalem to meet them, and the king pitched his tents against Judea and against Mount Zion.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's all I want. Right. Right. So that's all I want there. So Eleazar, wanting to make a name for himself, right, and deliver his people, died in battle. Okay. Didn't die in peace on his bed like his father. Died in battle. Not for the delivery of his people part, but for the part of just wanting to make a name for himself, right? This is what I see. I, this is what I see based on the precepts that I know. And we're going to look at how the other brothers died and tie all of this together with the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Okay? Remember, he tell you, pride come before a fall, and a haughty what spirit before destruction. Paraphrasing, right? Right? These deeds of valiance are not about you. Saving Israel is not about you. Saving Israel is about the glory of Yahweh, our power, through his son Yahweh Shai, the Prince, right? So when you forget that, you pay the price. Just like Moses wasn't able to go into the promised land in his lifetime because he attempted to take the glory for himself, not giving the glory to Yahweh, to whom it belongs. That's literally in the prayer that Christ told you is the prayer you ought to say to the Most High, which is the so-called Our Father, right? To thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever, right? This is what we pray. But we can look back and see in the moment when um our brother or our brothers go beyond that and seek glory for themselves, we see um the result, and it's not good. Okay. All right. So that's Eleazar. Let's look at Judah and see how Judah um meets his end. I'm gonna go to the 9th chapter here, right? I will read from the top. Let me get you to go ahead and read again, Sams. Right. Actually, it's Sister Akira. I think it's your turn, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get it. Let's get this from top, and we'll go to 22. Right?
Starting at 1.
Yeah, starting at 1. So this is the death of Judah Maccabeus. So Eleazar dies. That was his end. He died in war, right? Trying to kill the king's elephant so he can save his people, but also for him to get on a hype, for him to make a name for himself, you know. Maybe you want him to call him Eleazar the Kingslayer, or something like that. All right. But again, losing the focus of the battle, right? He died, man, right? So go ahead. This is let's see how Judah died. Go ahead.
Furthermore, when Demetrius heard that Nicanor and his host were slain in battle, he sent
Bacchides.
Bacchides and Alcimus into the land of Judea the second time, and with them the chief strength of his host.
Right. So he sent all the main battle hardened soldiers, the best, man. He sent the best of the best. Okay. He already has an army, and he sent the best, the best of the strength of his army. So the best of the best he sent. Go ahead.
Who went forth by the way that leadeth to Galgala,
Hmm.
and pitched their tents before Masaloth,
Hmm.
which is in Arbela.
Hmm.
And after they had won, they slew much people.
All right. So Demetrius, sorry. So Bacchides started winning battles, man, and killing a lot of Israelites. Go ahead.
Also, the first month of the 152nd year, they encamped before Jerusalem,
Hmm.
from whence they removed and went to Berea.
Berea, yeah. That's
Berea.
that's the place where the Bereans who always in the scriptures are from that we read about in the New Testament. Okay, the Bereans were more noble character than the Thessalonians because they check to see if what the preacher was saying is true, paraphrasing greatly. Go ahead.
With 20,000 footmen and 2,000 horsemen. Now Judas had pitched his tents in Elasa,
Hmm.
and 3,000 chosen men with him,
Hmm.
who, seeing the multitude the of the other army to he so great, were sore afraid.
Hmm.
Whereupon many conveyed themselves out of the host, insomuch as abode of them no more but 800 men.
Right, so he went in with 3,000, and when they saw the number of the armies of Bacchides, they got afraid. Okay, these are the same brothers that were running with Judah and his brothers, especially Judah, who had a fearful name among the heathen. Heathen were afraid of this guy. And so now they're afraid when Bacchides shows up on the scene. All right. So the tables have turned, right? So what happened? They deserted the army, conveyed themselves out of the host. They deserted the army, and only about 800 men stayed. Go ahead. 7.
When Judas therefore saw that his host slipped away, and that the battle pressed upon him, he was sore troubled in mind, and much distressed, for that he had no time to gather them together.
Right. So now Judah is losing confidence because he lost numbers. So at this point, I want you to think about whether Judah is thinking spiritually or he's thinking carnally. Because last time I checked, the most I told Gideon, I believe it was Gideon, there's too many people here. You guys are gonna think you won the battle. Send people home. And then he kept sending people home until he got down to 300 men, right? I'm pretty sure Judah would have had a bit more confidence thinking upon that level, right? But he started to get worried. The same mighty warrior, the lion and lion's whelp, who men feared, who had the sword of his enemy, slaying more enemies with it, right? Who had had many battles um, on account of the help and power of Yahweh. He's now in distress, right? So where's his mind at? Think about that. Read on from verse 8.
Never, Nevertheless, unto them that remained he said, Let us arise and go up against our enemies, if peradventure we may be able to fight with them.
So again, the confidence is turning into doubt. Let's go fight against our enemies. Perhaps we'll be able to fight with them or defeat them. Perhaps, right? Go ahead.
But they dehorted him, saying, We shall never be able. Let us now rather save our lives, and hereafter we will return with our brethren, and fight against them, for we are but few.
Right. So the men are counseling him like, bro, don't do this, right? They discouraging him. So he's already losing confidence. He's saying, well, maybe we'll be able to beat them. And his men are like, we certainly will not defeat these people. Okay? Let's run away today and come back tomorrow with more people. This is a completely carnal. They've forgotten the spiritual side of things, right? I remember Judah, if I remember correctly before this, saying, the battle is the Lord's, man. Right? One second. Da-da-da. Where is it? Where is it? Bear with me. Let's check for Samuel here. Excuse me. There we go. This is not the exact one, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. But this is one of them, but not the exact one that I was looking for. Okay. It says, um, this day will Yahweh deliver into my hand, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the armies of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Okay. This is David speaking, by the way. And all this assembly shall know that Yahweh saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is Yahweh's, and he will give you into our hands. Okay. And in the Apocrypha, Judah actually repeats this line, okay, but not in this instance, right? Because now I would argue his mind is carnal, right? He has forgotten what's going on spiritually, right? So go ahead. So his men discourage him after he's losing confidence already and said, we certainly can't win, right? And then Judah says what?
Then Judah said, Yahweh forbid that I should do this thing, and flee away from them. If our time be come, let us die manfully and let for our brethren, and let us not stain our honor.
Right. Go ahead.
With that, the host of Bacchides removed out, removed. Sorry, hold on. Removed out of their tents and stood over against them, their horsemen being divided into two troops, and their slingers and archers going before the host, and they that marched in the forward, were all mighty men.
Right. So Bacchides is bringing his armies, okay, his horsemen, his slingers, his archers, and he put his best men in the front. Okay. Go ahead. Or I should say the people in the front were not the rookies, man. They were all battle-hardened soldiers in the front. So they're coming for destruction, right? Go ahead.
As for Bacchides, he was in the right wing. So the host drew near on the two parts, on the two parts, and sounded their trumpets. They also of Judah's side, even they sounded their trumpets also, so that the earth shook at the noise of the armies, and the battle continued from morning till night.
Mm-hmm.
Now when Judah perceived that Bacchides and the strength of his army were on the right side, he took with him all the hardy men, who discomfited the right wing, and pursued them onto the Mount Azotus.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But when they of the left wing saw that they of the right wing were discomfited, they followed upon Judah. They followed upon Judah and those that were with him hard at the heels from behind.
Mm-hmm.
Whereupon there was a sore battle, insomuch as many were slain on both parts.
Mm-hmm.
Judah also was killed, and the remnant fled. Then Jonathan and Simon took Judah, their brother, and buried him in the sepulchre of his father.
Sepulcher, yeah, which is a tomb.
In the sepulchre of his fathers in Modin.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, they bewailed him, and Israel made great lamentation for him, and mourned many days, saying, How is the valiant man fallen that delivered Israel? As for the other things concerning Judah and his wars, and the noble acts which he did, and his greatness, they are not written, for they were very many.
Right, right. So again, the point being, the end of Judah is that he was slain in battle, man, having lost um all confidence, or having lost his confidence and really his dependence upon Yahweh, right? Having disobeyed the directive of his father, which is iniquity, man. Which that's a sin, a bad one, right? Um, so let's see if we can continue on and get to that, because I'm gonna prove that. All right. So let's see here. So that was Judah, and look how Jonathan dies. Okay. First Maccabees chapter 12, right? So Judah, who was a lion on the battlefield, dies, um, you know, with doubt and discouragement. Doubt and discouragement. What can I say? Slain in battle by an Edomite. Eleazar, slain in battle by the Edomites. And there's a very specific reason, that it's going down like this. And then now we're gonna look at Jonathan, who will also be slain in battle by Edomites, right? These same Edomites that their father spent his latter days destroying, man. And they spent many days destroying. How is it that they succumbed to these Edomites, right? This is the question that we will answer once we've gotten or as we get the account of their demise. We'll read 39 to 53 in chapter 12, right? All right, let's go. Let me get that, please, Sabs.
Where do I start?
I said 39, please. And you're reading till 53.
Now Tryphon went about to get the kingdom of Asia, and to kill Antiochus the king, that he might set the crown upon his head.
Upon his
How,
own head. So this is one Edomite trying to get the crown from another Edomite. Go ahead.
howbeit he was afraid that Jonathan would not suffer him, and that he would fight against him. Wherefore he sought a way how to take Jonathan, that he might kill him. So he removed and came to Bethsan.
Right. So realize here, one Edomite is plotting to kill another Edomite and take the throne from him, but he's afraid that an Israelite is not going to allow him to do that and fight against him on behalf of the Edomite to defend him. So how exactly did the Israelites go from being massacred and abused by these Edomites, right, to now the same family, right? One of their last brothers is now has now sided with one of the Edomites. So much so that he has another Edomite afraid that, yo, this Israelite is gonna come and defend this Edomite. I can, I gotta kill him first, because now Jonathan is working I can't say he's working, but he's now seen as the bodyguard or one of the bodyguards um of an Edomite man. How did we go from the enemy of Edom to their bodyguard, man? How did the Maccabean family, Mattathiah's sons, go from mighty warriors defending us against the Edomites to standing at the side of the Edomites, defending them as bodyguards, right? Well, the answer is sin, right? And the scriptures are going to show. Read on. We'll see exactly what sins. Go ahead.
Now then Jonathan went out to meet with 40,000 men chosen for the battle, and came to Bethsin.
So now Jonathan is fighting against one Edomite with 40,000 men on behalf of another Edomite. Absolute madness. This is the same Jonathan from the Maccabean family, from Simon's family. Okay. Then what happens?
Now when Tryphon saw Jonathan came with so great a force, he durst not stretch his hand against him,
Go ahead.
but received him honorably, and commended him unto all his friends, and gave him gifts, and commanded his men of war to be as obedient unto him as to himself.
Mm-hmm.
Unto Jonathan also he said, Why
Come on.
Why hast thou brought all this people to so great trouble, seeing there is no war betwixt us?
So stop right there. So when Tryphon saw that Jonathan came ready to battle him, he switched up the tactic and get diplomatic. Okay? When he saw, yo, this guy's gonna kill me, he switched up the tactic and started to slither. Read on.
Therefore send them home again, and choose a few men to wait on thee, and come thou with me to Ptolemais, for I will give it thee, and the rest of the strongholds and forces, and all that have any charge. As for me, I will return and depart, for this is the cause of my coming.
Right. So he said, hey, I came to give you the city Ptolemais. I didn't come to fight against you, Jonathan. I actually came to give you the city Ptolemais, which was a damn lie. The Most High told us this man came to kill the king and get the crown from him. But when he saw the black man as the bodyguard with all the other black men looking scruffy as hell, ready, battle-hardened Negro warriors, he didn't want none of the smoke, right? Like they say today, he didn't want none of the smoke, right? Directly, and decided instead he would take this man and by cloak and dagger, not by direct confrontation, but he would essentially assassinate him. Okay. And this is one of the tactics that Esau uses against our people today the most, right? This is actually his most used tactic, assassination, right? Um, I can't even say it's his most used, it's his most effective. It certainly is most used because the Most High calls him a deceiver, right? The deceiver, you know, never comes with the true intention face to face. He come with a different intention. And then time you know it, time you check yourself, you're at the pointy end of a knife, man. Right? And this is what this Edomite did against Jonathan. Right? Go ahead. So he said that's why he came. He came to give him the city Ptolemais, and to give him strongholds and to give him soldiers. That's why he came. Reading on, verse 46.
So Jonathan, believing him, did as he bade him, and sent away his host, who went into the land of Judea.
All right.
And
So hold
with
on.
him,
So hold on. Jonathan fell for the okey doke, man. Did this guy forget who he was fighting against? Did he forget the words of his father? Did he forget the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh that tell you never trust your enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness? Did he forget the words of Yahweh that tell you don't choose the thing in which he delight not? Did he forget these words? Right? Um, I will go out on the limb and say he certainly did, because the actions speak the words, right? So he believed the man. He took the mark. He sent away his army and he went into the land of Judea, believing this Edomite was telling the truth. Go ahead, 47.
so,
47.
and with himself he retained but 3,000 men, of whom he sent 2,000 into Galilee, and 1,000 went with him. Now as soon as Jonathan entered into Ptolemais, they of Ptolemais shut the gates and took him, and all them that came with him they slew with the sword.
So stop right there. The man didn't even take long to switch up, right? Soon as Jonathan thinned his numbers and sent his soldiers away, he kept 1,000 soldiers with him only. The Edomite, Tryphon, brings him into the city Ptolemais, which he told him he came to give him, shut the gate, kill everybody that came with him, and take him. Go ahead.
Then sent Tryphon on an host of footmen and horsemen into Galilee and into the great plain to destroy all Jonathan's company.
So he sent, after he did that, he sent men to kill the soldiers that he sent away. Right? So Tryphon wasn't playing. So when they say you're trifling, you could kind of, what do you call it? There's your namesake. Now, this is not fact. I'm just saying, right? It's certainly not coincidence, right? Because this PH started to get uh, uh, essentially transformed into the F, right? Tryphon, trifling. It's not a coincidence, right? So trifling, Tryphon, um, went ahead and wanted to finish the job, right? It's like I'm killing this whole army this man came with. As I'm killing this whole army he came with, and I'm capturing this guy. That's what I'm gonna do, right? Read on.
But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken and slain, they encouraged one another, and when close together prepared to fight.
Go, no, go ahead. So stop right there, right? Ah, boy. So Jonathan trusts the snake, right? As he's working as a bodyguard for another snake. And one snake comes and tricks him and kills him and all his men. That's how the man went out. Whereas we read earlier on, these men were mighty and valiant men that when Israelites and heathen heard of them, they were heard of with they were regarded with great renown, and people feared them, right? And Jonathan dies in an ambush by the hand of a snake named Tryphon, a Edomite, as a bodyguard for another Edomite. I mean, this don't sound like the way a hero, one of the saviors of Israel, is supposed to go. But again, there is a reason he died in this particular way, right? And we already start to see why, right? He went and partnered with the Edomites, man. That's what got him killed, right? Now, we won't get a chance to look at that in detail today, but after this section, I think we'll wrap up and then we'll look at those things in detail next week, Lord willing, in part 3, right? But read on, Saba, from 49.
Then sent Tryphon an host of footmen and horsemen into Galilee and into the great plain to destroy all Jonathan's company. But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken and slain, they encouraged one another and went close together, prepared to fight.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
They therefore that followed upon them, perceiving that they were ready to fight for their lives, turned back again.
Mm-hmm.
Whereupon they all came into the land of Judea peaceably, and there they bewailed Jonathan and them that were with him, and they were sore afraid. Wherefore all Israel made great lamentation.
Lamentation, okay, which is mourning, okay? So when the Edomites realized that these two Israelite troops, legions, because a legion is 1,000 men, when they realized that these two legions joined together and were ready for the attack, they turned tail and ran, right? Right? Esau loves the sneak attack, okay? Esau deal with the sneak attack, especially against Israel, man, okay? He's not willing to fight Israel face to face. He fears Israel. Okay? For we are gods, right? And he is a dog. The exact opposite. God forward, and when you look at the word backward to forward to backward, it's the word is God. And backwards the word is dog. So Esau is literally the opposite of who we are. And he's not willing to take the risk, you know. So it's always some sneaky thing. Bombing your neighborhood while you're sleeping. Can't take you in the middle of the night. It's always something sneaky, man. That being said, um, finish that last verse for me there, please.
Then all the heathen that were round about then sought to destroy them, for they said, they have no captain, nor any to help them. Now therefore let us make war upon them, and take away their memorial from among men.
From among men, right? So, what happened to Jonathan? Jonathan died, man. Jonathan died at the hands of an Edomite. Okay. So this guy Tryphon, um, let me see what I have here. Um, 14. Okay. Sister Kira.
I'm here.
All right, let me get from verse 14 to 23 here. Right, it's just another account of Simon's death by the hand of Tryphon. We're gonna look at who Tryphon is, and we'll wrap up. Go ahead.
Now when Tryphon knew that Simon was risen up instead of his brother Jonathan, and meant to join battle with him, he sent messengers unto him, saying, Whereas we have Jonathan, thy brother, in hold, it is for money that he is owing unto the king's treasure, concerning the business that was committed unto him.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore now send 100 talents of silver, and 2 of his sons for hostages, that when he is at liberty he may not revolt from us, and
Mm-hmm.
we will let him go.
Mm-hmm. So Tryphon said, hey, listen, man, send us hostages and money. We'll let your brother go. Go ahead.
Hereupon Simon, albeit he perceived that they spake deceitfully unto him, yet he sent the money and the children, lest peradventure he should procure to himself great hatred of the people, who might have said, Because I sent him not the money and the children, therefore Jonathan is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent them the sorry. So he sent them the children and the 100 talents. Howbeit Tryphon dissembled neither would he let Jonathan go.
Mm-hmm.
And and after this came Tryphon to invade the land and destroy it, going round about by the way that leadeth to Adora. But Simon and his hosts marched against him in every place, wheresoever he went. Now that they were in the towers, sent messengers to Tryphon,
They were who in the tower. They that were in the tower sent messages to Tryphon. Go ahead.
to the end that he should hasten, hasten,
Hasten.
hasten his coming on to them by the wilderness, and
Mm-hmm.
sent them victuals.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore Tryphon made ready all his horsemen to come that night. But there fell a very great snow, by reason whereof he came not. So he departed and came into the country of Galaad. And when he came near to Bascama, he slew Jonathan, who was buried there.
You see that? Okay.
Afterward,
Hold
after
on. I think that's all I want. Yep, that's all I want. All right. So what do you call it? Tryphon killed Jonathan, man. And this is how he killed him. All right. This is how he killed him. He caught him slipping because Jonathan thought everything was good working with this Edomite, and Tryphon tricked him and killed him. Okay. Who is this Tryphon? Last scripture for today. First Maccabees 1:11:39. KK, let's get that.
Repeat where? Repeat where?
Verse 39.
Moreover, there was one Tryphon that has been of Alexander's part of four, who seeing that all the host murmured murmured
Murmured,
murmured
which is grumbled. Go ahead.
against Demetrius
Yeah.
went Demetrius went to Simicu, the
Simalcu, the Arabian.
Arabian that brought up and Shois and Antis
Break down the word into syllables, please.
Antiochus
It's Antiochus. Antiochus.
Antiochus, the young son of Alexander.
All right, so Tryphon, right? He was an old friend of, it says Alexander, right? Which Alexander? Alexander the Greek, the great, the freak. Okay? Esau's biggest hero, right? He was a friend of this guy. And when he saw that all the armies were moving against Demetrius, um, he went to this man named Simalcu, the Arabian, who raised Antiochus, the young son of Alexander, right? Um, and he went did it to this man to do what? In verse 40 it says, and they saw upon him to deliver him this young Antiochus, right? So this guy, Simalcu the Arabian, was preserving the young Antiochus, right? The son of Alexander. Why? For him to reign in his father's stead. Okay, so they were essentially hiding that son. Because what used to happen with Edomites is they would just kill your whole family and usurp the throne. Okay? You don't have any men left, so hey, now things are open. Okay, so some people would take their children and send them away, hide them. Okay, certain of their sons and hide them away so that they could come back later and take the throne. And it says, he told him therefore in verse 40, all that Demetrius had done, and how his men of war were at enmity with him, and there he remained a long season. Okay, and we read from before that this Tryphon came to do what? He came to take the throne. All right. So with that, we will wrap up this portion and this service looking at what happened to Simon and his brothers. All right, so we saw that Eliezer died, Judah died, Jonathan died, all of them um, in precarious positions. Two by the hand of Edom, and the third trying to get glory off of one of the Edomites for himself, right? So in part three, we're going to look at uh, Simon's death. Um, we're going to look at Simon's death, and we're going to look at why the brothers died from the scriptures in this particular way, being heroes of Israel who saved our people for a time from the destruction of the Edomites, right? So with that, all praise to the Most High. To those that joined us on the internet or will join us, thank you guys for watching. If you want more truth directly from the Bible, directly from the teachers, one of the teachers that the Most High ordained, pursuant to Psalm 147, verse 19 and 20, and John 4, verse 23. If you want more of this kind of content, of course, stay in touch by subscribing, following, whatever needs to be done on this particular platform that you see the video on. All right. Um, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna stop the live stream, and to the people that are on the line, stay on the line so that we can pray out.